Choice of the chosen, yeah. Choice of the chosen, yeah.
Welcome back for our Rugby World Cup special. I've been looking forward to this one. The brain's been ticking over crazy at Mahi, and I'm glad that it's finally come round to let everything out. Welcome back to AMO, the one-man show. Proud to have you on the show today for the World Cup special, mate.
I'm just ready to dive right in there. I've got a lot of things to say about this World Cup. It's been good, and I can't wait to get into it.
Definitely. Also, we've got another special guest. So we've got the one and only Dylan Reno Bennett. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, Shannon. I'd just like to point out that my thoughts and opinions are not necessarily the thoughts and opinions shared by Chosen Family Sports, so I intend not to put anyone off with my selections and opinions on games. It's solely what I feel.
Definitely, mate. We like our opinions on here. We can't just be all one-sided. Boys, what a World Cup. I'm loving it. This gets me pumped up every time it comes around, you know. It's not the same as last time, obviously, because it was back at home, but I'm feeling that it's been big in vibe. I don't know what London and England have been like, but it seems that a lot of places have been buzzing. Definitely after last night when Wales beat England, I've seen a lot of things on Facebook with the Welsh paying out the Swing Low song of the English, but definitely it's definitely been good for me. How are you feeling the start's been with the atmosphere and what?
Oh, it's been awesome. I've loved it. You know me, I'm a league man first, but this Rugby World Cup has just got me watching. I've watched nearly every single game. It's been fantastic rugby. What I've been really surprised with is all the minnows and how they've stepped up, and they're really giving some of these countries that are meant to be the top echelon, a good run for their money, and it makes for exciting games. It's been awesome so far.
Yeah, definitely. Reno, you haven't been able to see as much of the games.
That's why I feel the hype around this one is it may be because it's not in New Zealand, but it feels like there's a lot less hype. Like, unless the minnows are winning or putting up challenges, you don't hear anything about it. So
no,
in the games where
no way. First of all, Reno, that's wrong. And there's been like 3-4 upsets already, which has made it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The upsets are making the news.
Yeah, but last time it was in our country, so it was in your face. Every time you turned around, it was just more and more World Cup. This has been big, even though it's all the way over the other side of the world. I went to work an hour and a half late the other day, just to watch these games. And I'm going to be doing it again and again because you get to watch some quality rugby.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
a lot of people back home will be calling in sick for a lot of the days after the All Black games. Over here in Aussie, I'm a bit lucky, and we don't actually inconvenient with work time, and plus I do night shifts, so that's all good. Like you said, well, there's been a lot of upsets, and you can't go past the South Africa-Japan game. Who in their right mind would have seen this game? It was just massive. I actually missed the game because I slept through my alarm, but I seen the highlights. 32-34 to Japan. They never gave up. They just stuck in the game. They were kicking goals, and then
huge.
Right at the end, there's a massive call to go for the win, and good on them, mate. Like Khan Hesketh, Loco Otago boy. It's just an amazing story.
It was huge.
I've gone through. I looked back over the history in that, and looked at some other big upsets. 2011, if we'll all remember that one, when Ireland beat Australia 15-6.
That's got nowhere. That's got nothing on Japan beating South Africa. Japan, okay, these guys shouldn't even, in theory, they shouldn't even be facing a team like South Africa. And that's what South Africa thought when playing them. And that's why they disrespected them by not taking early penalties in the game, just thinking, oh, we're going to blow over these guys. And and they didn't give them respect. And in the end, that's why they got beaten. It doesn't matter who you play, you have to give them respect. Because as you said, Japan just kept nailing over these three-pointers. And they played really smart too. They just kept kicking the ball away. Their kicking game, tactically, was on point. Eddie Jones, they said, had been training them up on it for ages, would just spend hours and hours on kicking correctly, making sure they don't play in their half. And then South Africa, no respect for them, just went up, made handling errors, didn't really think much of it until right at the very end, when the buzzer goes and Japan scored that try. It was one of the best feelings that I've had in so long, and that's coming from a rugby league supporter.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree. I think South Africa let Japan win that by giving them no respect, by showing no respect from the minute they ran out onto the field.
Yeah.
As soon as they showed Japan no respect, and it got 50 minutes through the game, and there was still no respect there, they just needed to wake up and realise, hang on, this is a lot harder than we thought, and then they probably would have won.
Yes.
But right up until that last play, they still weren't showing respect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously with that Ireland Aussie one, obviously they are good both playing nation, but there was definitely an upset. And another upset, which is also two good playing nations, Fiji upset Wales in 2007, 38-34, but definitely would have to go back to Japan beating South Africa. It's the biggest upset in World Cup history, and they deserve it. You know, they one of the.
Could you say that's in rugby history? Could you say that, not just World Cup? Could you say in the history
you would have to say it in rugby history, but it was
huge.
It was an amazing story, and these are the stories that make Rugby World Cups. And for me,
that's it.
One of the special players on the day was Tanaka, the halfback, and you just got to go back and look what he done for the Landers and that. And I remember, I don't think it was last year, maybe the year before, he was performing so well that he was keeping Aaron Smith out of the starting 15 some of the games. That's how well he was playing. And to think now, Aaron Smith is the best halfback in the world, class, and just everything that he would have learnt off Aaron Smith, playing rugby in New Zealand, and just everything,
that's it.
Like, he was always a good halfback, but this has made him even better. And he's got a lightning quick pass as well. He loves to have a snipe, and he's not scared, as anyone knows. The Japanese team, doesn't matter how small they are, they'll go right into those tackles. But
yeah.
I couldn't believe.
As you were saying, Tanaka, he played so well, and as you were saying, like how well he is playing, Aaron Smith this year, the best player in the world, and Tanaka was still getting 15 minutes every game. That shows the class of how good he is to even be saying, "Hey, Aaron Smith, give me 20, give me 15 minutes." He's a top player, and there was a lot of good players. Their fullback for Japan, wonderful kicking. Honestly, they played their hearts out.
It's definitely what you need in a World Cup.
I agree with the Tanaka bit as well. Just the playing alongside Smith and everything, that you could see it in his gameplay and his confidence and everything as well. Just that lower level of rugby where you're playing with the best in the world, and then you take that into a game where you verse one of the best teams in the world, and you show that you can do it as well. It was definitely class to watch.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Can
I just say one more thing before we move on, Mecca?
Yeah.
I want to talk about South Africa. Okay, obviously they played bad. Okay, they obviously played very bad. But can we talk about some of their good players? That massive lock, I can't say his name, but it ends in Jaeger.
It's
okay?
a beast.
He is huge, and he scored that long try, and the commentators were calling him a giraffe. He is awesome. He is damn good. Bismarck, the hooker, wow. Is he
amazing?
Is he one of the best hookers in the game?
Yeah.
He is amazing.
Yes.
He is so
South Africa is definitely going to come up later, because I've definitely, that was a shock, but for me it'll be coming up in the end of the thing, because I see them as All Blacks' biggest threat, and the most likely scenario will have to play them before the final.
Well, I think they're a huge threat. Huge.
This kind of annoys me, because I always love watching the island nations. They always bring some flair to the thing, but Tonga has done nothing for me, and it just really disappointed me. I'm glad that a minnow nation got up against them, but it just annoyed me that they done nothing different when they didn't read the game at all. They just keep doing the same thing,
Correct.
and it just frustrated. Like, Georgia played their hearts out, and good on to them. Like, the passion shown from the number 8, the captain, was amazing. But
He was massive. He was massive.
Tonga just keep doing the same game plan. It wasn't working. Their number 7 Latu he's an amazing player, but they just did nothing, and it really frustrated me. Like,
It frustrates everybody because everyone knows how good Tonga can be. The
Yeah.
same with Samoa. Tonga are good. They've got some wicked players. Like Vanakolo out on the number 11, their winger, was one of their best players, and they didn't give him enough ball. He was tearing them up, and yet they just didn't get the ball to him. They just rely on their power and their speed, and they don't play like a technical game of rugby, where if they could, they would destroy a team like Georgia. Instead, they play the simple rugby pattern, and then Georgia, off the back of that, can defend that, and it's easy for them. And then all they have to do is score one try and get a couple penalties, and next thing you know, they've caused one of the biggest upsets.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, the 4 packs have always been something for the Minnow Nations, where they've always kind of stepped up, but they destroyed the Tongans up front, and I've noticed the Minnow teams like to have been rushing in D a lot, and some of the teams haven't been adapting to it. Like, a good thing that
Nailed it.
Ian Foster said the other day, definitely when the All Blacks played the who was it, Namibia, the week before Argentina, we probably were a bit too deep, and then we were a bit too flat against Namibia, and we didn't adapt. And that's definitely something you've got to pick up early in the game, whether to stand a bit deeper or come up a bit flatter so you can get to the advantage line. But Tonga did not adapt at all.
It just shows the coaching's working, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
they're,
true.
they're obviously doing homework and seeing what the teams are doing in their previous games, and the minnow teams are starting to be able to be coached.
That's it.
And it's only good for World Rugby. Another one that I
correct.
can't go past. I heard a lot of talk about them before the Rugby World Cup. It just frustrates me as well. Italy, there was word going around
Horrible.
that this could be the year they beat France, like get over France and they 32-10 to France, and then again they only just beat
ugly.
Canada.
It was ugly to watch. There was
they've
nothing quality about their game. It was boring.
There's no passion.
That was boring. I don't even want to watch it. They offer close to nothing. Like, I'm not saying France are the real deal, but they made them look like they were a damn good side, and I don't think they're as good as what they look. Italy
Media came out and said looking dangerous, but France weren't looking dangerous. Italy were just looking flat and boring and crap.
Yeah,
Correct.
They were definitely a disappointing team, and on that the France factor. Now, I know I continually say this every time, that the whole thing around World Cups, the All Blacks and France, I don't like how people look at the past, because it's not the same team, it's not the same year, it's not the same game. So, but what do you read of France at the moment? Are they flying under the radar? Are they doing their typical, we don't play until quarterfinals time? Or are they just not actually that good?
I don't... Reno, what do you think?
I don't think you can say they're not that good. I think they are that good. I think they are that good. They're just they're not playing to their full potential yet. But I think with performances like what Italy put in, they're kind of like what South Africa were. They feel like they don't have to. They cruised to a victory, and they didn't have to put in a performance that made them look like the real deal.
Yeah,
I think come
do
quarter-final time
do
where
they even
the
have
competition's
players?
harder.
But do they even have the players to really threaten us? Because looking at them, like, no one there is really threatening. Yes, like their captain, obviously. They have a massive 13 too. I can't say his name, Bastial or something. But that black number 13, he is a big boy, and they get a lot of go forward of hitting him up, and then they get that advantage line, and then they can go wide. But I don't really see them scaring us, honestly. I'm more worried about other teams, and if we have to face France,
we've said this in the past. In 2007, it was the same story. Like, no one thought France would cause any trouble. And other than a forward pass, they probably wouldn't have. But they still were in the game right until the end. And
yeah, definitely.
When on paper they shouldn't.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I understand that, Reno, and I really don't like looking at with that situation like the glass half empty. It's got to be half full, and this is a completely different. Well, it's not completely different All Black team, but the way I see France is they are flying under the radar a bit, but I do not think they're as good as 2011, and I don't think I've ever seen a better All Black team than this. And every team's one to watch, but I think that this time, all that history, it's history, just leave it in the past, and we won't cruise past them, but we'll be far too strong for them.
I think when we come up against France, it's going to come down to a mentality game, because there's so much hype about we lose to France, or like, in the past this, the past that, different teams and everything. We go into the game thinking that they're a bogey team, and our mentality slips, and there's an ounce of fear there that shouldn't be there at a professional level. And I think because of the media hype, that it pushes it bigger than what it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that gets to these All Blacks though? Do you think it gets to this team?
I don't think.
You would hope not.
Not this team, I don't think. I think this is
team.
One of the strongest mentally sides that All Blacks have ever had. You just have to look at Richie McCaw, and then it just flows through the team.
Yes and no, but you say that, and then you look at the performance against Namibia, and like we got the win, we got the bonus point win and everything, but it's almost like the mentality wasn't there because we knew we were going to win. We should have put 80 or 90 on them, and we win by 40-something because we kind of knew we were going to stroll to the victory. I think mentally, there are nerves there, and they're just not expected to show it, and I think it's natural to show it.
Did you feel that was coming from players that were playing their first game, well, some of them were playing their first game ever in a Rugby World Cup game?
Yeah, it could be, and it could also be
and we were missing some of our key. Like, don't get me wrong, and we'll touch base on this a bit later, but that was a very frustrating game. But since that game, I have calmed down. I have thought.
Let's just get into that game, because I think we need to speak about it. It wasn't that good.
Okay.
It wasn't that good.
It wasn't good. It was frustrating, but we've definitely got to take positives out of it. One of them being, obviously, everyone has played now, bar Nholo and Messam because of the injury. So we've got that out of the way. We can start now building our team to the team we want it to be come quarterfinals time, because we can't really muck around and just leave it to the last minute. So this week you'll definitely see Nholo play, and you'll see Messam get his chance. But the game was frustrating, and you could tell the players were getting frustrated when we were trying things when we knew it wasn't going right, and then those things weren't happening, and we were getting frustrated, and just nothing really changed, and we're doing basic errors. And even some of the players are coming out and said, we knew the systems weren't working, and we were getting frustrated, but we don't need the coaches or anyone else to tell us that, we didn't perform.
Yeah, well, I understand that it's hard running structure against a team that's not structurally there, because, they're used to playing against, a better team, ranked 20th in the world. But still, things that let us down is handling errors. Yeah. Handling errors. When Japan played South Africa, they made 3 handling errors, okay? We made 3 handling errors in the first 20 minutes. That's not good enough for any All Black side. Doesn't matter who you're playing. The reason why we're the best in the world is because we hold ourselves to a high standard. We should be able to adapt. And we weren't adapting, and we did not look that good. Did you know they had more turnovers than us? That's not good enough. When it felt like whenever there's momentum, we gave away penalties. How can the 20th ranked team in the world get momentum on us, the first ranked team in the world, and then us give away a penalty? Should we not back our defence? No, that's not good enough, giving away penalties. The fact that they scored 14 points on us, not good enough. And I don't care if we won the game by 50 points. That doesn't matter. It's not the points. It's the way we played.
Exactly.
Okay?
And that
it wasn't good enough. It was not good enough.
Someone reflect on Facebook, and I agree with it. It wasn't the points. It's never points, because if you win by 1 or 100, it's still the same. But it's the execution that's what was frustrating.
That's right.
And that's like social media blew up after it. You know, you had everyone saying, you know, we still won and all that, and then you had all the other people saying, but you can't afford to do this against top nations, otherwise you will lose. You got to have your execution right. But
I think that comes down to the mentality again. When we're going into a game against a top tier nation, we're not going to be we're going to be mentally prepared. We're not going to go out there thinking it's a walk in the park.
Yeah, but this is the World Cup. We've got to do that against every team. We've got to be.
We should have.
We've
Yes.
got to be.
I agree.
We should be on
I
point.
don't think they were prepared to.
Yeah, I think you are right. They weren't prepared.
and definitely
If you're looking at
from that Argentina game, it took a while for a few people to get in. It was a lot better second half, but you got to give it to Argentina.
It was a great game.
You got to give it to Argentina. I love the way they play, and I'm so happy that they are in the Rugby Championship, because they've always been a team that has performed in Rugby World Cups, and now that they've had the chance to be exposed to the Rugby Championship, they are such a better side, and it just proved that.
Way better.
Like for me, I've noted down: is Argentina going to be a team that can make it quite far? Can they make it to a semi, or can they even make it to the final?
I would not be surprised.
You know?
I would not be surprised if they made it to a semi. I don't think a final, but I would not be surprised if they made it to the semis.
Well, honestly, they're good enough. You seen what they did to us in that first half? They rattled us. It was our first game in the World Cup. As you said before, they were rushing up on us. And honestly, they rattled us, and they played extremely well. The reason why we beat them is because our class just shined through in that second half. We backed ourselves. We weren't giving away those penalties, and we backed ourselves. And we played in their whole half, that second half of that game, and we just run our structures and our patterns, and we just ran it through them. And then our coach puts on a guy named Sonny Bill Williams, who is the real deal, and came on and just cut them up. Him and Scudder are looking like the two best players at this World Cup at the moment. They are tearing teams apart, and everybody else is watching them on video, trying to figure out ways to stop them. That's how good they look at the moment.
Definitely.
I agree.
The Sonny Bill factor, I was so happy when he came out and he performed the way he did. You know, there's a lot of hate behind the guy, and you can't stop that, but I think people have just got to learn to respect the dude and just know that he is a great athlete, and what he brings to this All Blacks team is something special, and I don't know why so many people are against him. It can get frustrating, but
it's jealousy. It's
Tall
jealousy.
poppy syndrome.
It is. No
Like,
one else can do what he does. No one else can do what he does.
And then
he makes it look easy too.
definitely in a week game 2, the same two players were definitely our standout players again. There were a few others
Correct.
like Romano. He could play quite well. A lot of stuff that
Very well.
gets unnoticed by your average rugby fan because they don't understand what goes behind the scenes. But he was very he got through a lot of work, and he put his name forward to actually make the bench for our best 23. But coming into that, it's been a lot of debate. My brain has been going crazy over it. I definitely think that we've got to win this World Cup. We can't just cruise by. We've got to bring something new, and that something new is Scudder, is Naholo. I don't understand why people aren't seeing this. Naholo has only played 45 minutes of international rugby. I understand that.
I'm with you.
But that means
you.
there's only 45 minutes of tape on the dude. And that's
right.
That's our biggest threat. Stop looking at the glass so half empty, guys. He is gonna be our biggest threat. Like it is frustrating, and it is gonna be a massive call. With one winger is gonna have to miss it.
Yeah.
You can't have a winger on the bench because you can't leave. Manonu or Sonny Bill's gonna start. I think Manonu will start. You can't just not have him starting.
Manonu has to start.
Yeah, exactly. And Sonny Bill is.
He has to.
We've already seen the impact off the bench he's going to bring. It's amazing, and it's one of our biggest cards. So then it goes down to three wingers into two spots. Scudder,
Yep.
you can't leave him
Where are
out.
you going?
You can't leave Scudder out.
You can't.
No, he's
He's got
You
too
cannot
much.
leave him out.
He's got too much X factor. He's got everything. He's
He's a creative right winger. He is a perfect 14. That's what you want. On your 11, you want a powerful winger. Who do you have? Everyone's asking it. Severe?
I've gone Naholo.
Who?
Naholo, he's got this game coming up this week against Georgia. If he gets to it, fine. You got to give him another shot. You have to with Scuddy. You have to trial them for a game. And if it is against this week against Georgia, or is it next week
It's only
against
Georgia. It's only
Tonga?
Georgia.
Yeah,
you can't say it's it was only Namibia and we only won by 40.
Okay. Say this then. Say Naholo goes out there, plays extremely well, scores 2 tries, does everything well. He gets another game.
he
And
has
then another
to.
game, and another game.
You've
Okay.
got to give him another game at least before the quarters.
I understand, like, Severe has been our winger for the last 2 years. He's the man. But what I think this year he struggled with, in rugby, you always got to keep adapting. Severe has struggled this year, but I felt he hasn't brought anything new. That's why he's not performing as much. And I was so impressed with him the other day. He still went missing at times, but he's looking for work. He is looking. He is trying to find that form again, which is good for the All Black environment. But you can't go with a dude that is not in form. He's looking for form when you got a guy that like Naholo. He hasn't got much tape on him. He's got the X factor, and he's been the form winger of the year for Super Rugby with Scudder. So if he finds the form, you can't leave him on the bench. And the other thing is,
So
Hansen has already come out and said the risk for reward. Why would you take a dude from Naholo, he carves up against Namibia, and then you say, oh, we've got to give Severe another chance, and then Severe goes alright, and then Severe plays the rest of the World Cup. You've taken Naholo with that huge risk factor, played him for one game, and then that's it. For me, it's just a waste of a spot. When you could have had someone
what
like
happens if Naholo
Israel Dag
Wait, though.
on the bench, backing up Ben Smith, you know? Go Reno, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
If Naholo goes bad this week, does he still get a second game?
Yeah. I think
You have to,
looking at
man.
the fact
You
that
You
he's
can't
gonna
just
go
go off one game when that's his first
Yeah,
game
know.
back.
I
think you have to
agree.
give
I
him
just
2
wanted
games.
to know what your thoughts were. So he plays the next 2 games regardless. That's what I would do as a coach.
That's what I'd do.
You may see Scudder miss
Darby
out on
has
one.
had 2. Naholo. Yep, maybe
Would you
Darby
see-
and
would
next
you-
week against Tonga.
No,
Or
would
maybe
you
Milne
put someone
Scudder.
else there? Would you put Colin Slade or someone else to the wing?
I don't think we need to.
And give Scudder a break?
We already have a wing headache. Do we need to do that?
I don't know.
There's some tough
I don't
calls for our 23, but it is hard. But I think Scudder will get rested one game, but surely it'd have to be against Georgia then, because for me, Tonga, we've got to have our best 23 on the field. You can't just not have your best 23 and then go to the next game. That's when we will get chumped by France or something, when we've just put our 23 for the first time on the field again since the first game. You got to build momentum. Yeah. So for me, that Tonga game, you have to have your best 23 on the field. So if Scudder's going to get a break,
last week should be treated like it's already a playoff.
I believe it should be.
Yeah.
And I definitely think
I think it would be something like that.
I definitely think Hansen. You might have 1 or 2 guys maybe a little niggly injury that you wouldn't risk them, but definitely other than that, you'd have to have your best 23. You got to build momentum. Otherwise, we would go into a game like France, and then doubt can happen, and then if we get into a situation, stuff arises, and they haven't had that time together, it's going to be a lot hard to change it and get the game flowing.
Yeah.
But,
all right then. Well, question: do you think the likes of the hooker Cody? Do you think he played himself, into a spot of being on the bench? Do you think he went well? We've talked about Romano. He played well. What about Victor Vito? He played well in the first half, then went missing again. What about these guys that we gave a run? did they really get anything out of that Namibia game?
No, I think the Namibia game solved those problems for us. I think there was a clear difference between the Argentina game and the Namibia game of who were our best players and who weren't.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think TJ Peninata did not do himself any favours. I think we missed the structure from Aaron Smith. I think you could tell. There was a real big difference to him and Aaron Smith as a halfback. He could be our key guy going through this World Cup. He could be like...
Sorry guys about that, we just had some technical difficulties and tore the panel dropped out. So getting back into it, definitely TJ Perenara, it was disappointing to see that he didn't perform, and the gap is so big between him and Aaron Smith. And for me, Aaron Smith, he has to be playing at least 70 to 80 minutes for the All Blacks, otherwise we're going to struggle with the speed of the game.
I think he's an 80. I think we need him for the 80.
Amor. Hold up, Reno, we're going to have to... Amor's...
What's he up to now? Says he's still here.
Yeah, but he's got like a block over his phone. He's got no audio.
What is going on?
Now there's a fourth person, it says.
Now Amor's joined again.
Oh. Amor, you there, G?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what happened there?
I got kicked out.
Now there's four
booted.
people in the meeting. Oh, no,
Nah, I removed
Amor's
that.
Sweet.
So there's just us three?
Yeah, we're good now. Start
Okay,
that again, Mac.
Yes.
I'll start that again, so 7...
Say exactly the same thing you just did.
What were we talking about first?
TJ Perenara.
TJ Perenara.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm back.
Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties. Amor and Reno dropped out. Getting back into it, though, definitely it's very frustrating. It was frustrating with the TJ, the fact that, and the gap is so big between him and Smith, and Smith has to be playing the majority of the games for the All Blacks to win, I believe.
Yeah, he's too good not to. We have to have him in there. We have to. It showed.
Not only in there, I think he has to be there the entire game. I think he's an 80-minute half. We need him on the field.
Now, I think TJ Peninata brings something different, and so does Kurbala. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Kurbala, but they are a different sort of halfback. I think maybe in the semi-final or a final, Smith might stay, the whole game. But I think we don't want to overplay him now because he is that influential to the way we play.
Oh, definitely. We don't want him playing like a 80-minute game versus Georgia and then picking up an injury in the 79th minute. That would be...
But again, so if the All Blacks treat the Tonga game next week like it's already a playoff, though, do you start playing him 80 from then?
I don't think against Tonga you'd have to. You'd give him like at least 60 minutes. I don't think it would affect you that much. But definitely...
Is it result dependent?
Yeah, that can be also what the score line is at the time, how the game's going.
Yeah.
But going off that, for me, I've written down 3 things for us that will win us the Rugby World Cup. 1, Aaron Smith.
What are they?
2, our bench.
Correct.
3,
Correct.
our wingers. Naholo
You-
and Scudder. Back to the wingers thing. You can't go past it. You cannot go past it. And anyone who doesn't think that those are the 3 keys, I don't know. I want to hear what you have to say. I really want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'll jump in here. I've got my 3 things.
All right, go.
I've got my 3 things that'll win us the World Cup. It's an S, a B, and a W.
I love it.
Yeah, that is
his
good, Reno.
His X factor that he brings to the game is going to be the make or break between us winning or losing a game. He's just unstoppable at the moment, and his form going into the quarters and semis is what's going to be. It's just going to lift us. Whether he comes off the bench or not, if he starts, it doesn't matter. He's just so influential at the moment.
Definitely.
I'm right there with you.
What would yours have to be then, Amarangi?
All right. I think you nailed it in the first two. I think Aaron Smith is huge for us. I think he is probably our biggest key factor. I think our second thing is our bench. Not very many countries, if anybody else, has the opportunity to take someone off the field and bring on someone that is just as good or better. I think, yeah, that is a huge factor for us. But the third thing, it's hard. It's not our wingers. I think it's our first five. I think it is our first five because Barrett, his kicking the other day was not good enough, okay? And I think Dan Carter, I think we just sort of forget about him because he is so good, but I think he is key for us. He is huge for us. It's not like last time where we had Aaron Cruden there and then Beaver to save the day. I don't know if Barrett and Colin Slade are going to be good enough to save the day. So I think Dan Carter is huge for us.
Yeah, definitely. Dan Carter has been playing some amazing form, and that is a good point that you bring up. That he is so good, so people seem to forget about it, and
That's right.
he has kind of a slight off game, and then you got half the country on his back saying he should be dropped. I've never heard something
Yeah.
more. I've never
All the
heard something
time.
more ridiculous. That's definitely one thing. Like, I know that me and you jumped our gun a bit on the All Blacks performance, but it was poor.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, the country is so bad at jumping on one player's back just before... Like, for example, the Sonny Bill thing. I'm going to say 2 million people in New Zealand don't believe, probably even more, don't believe he shouldn't have been on that plane. Well, what are they saying now?
Yeah, it happens every time. Yeah. It's annoying. He's so good, and yet people just continuously put him down. I don't want this to turn this into the Sonny Bill show, but it's going to get that way if people just continuously hate on him. Because I'm not going to let up. I'm going to have his back
Yeah.
every week, every time. I've got his back.
We got his back all the time. So definitely coming off
Yeah.
that, we've Scudder and Sonny Bill have definitely been the most influential on the All Blacks so far.
Yep. I'd say that.
Yep.
Definitely. I've got one here. It has to come up. All Blacks' biggest threat. Who was it? South Africa for mine. They lost to Japan. We all knew that was bad. But they're back and they're bigger and they're stronger and they're a team like the All Blacks for mine, and they're so hard to read. Somewhere like an Aussie has been chucked out that this is one of their best World Cups that they've been to. They're gonna be. I feel Aussie have played their cards far too soon. The two open sides work brilliant for them. I don't think it will happen. I don't think that will work against All Blacks again. They're not that dumb. They will have a game plan for it, and I think they're too smart. It won't. They'll have to bring something else. The other factor.
Well, could you even say that we were against Fiji? They didn't even get a bonus point. And if you really want to look at it, because of Wales beating England last night, that's put a huge spanner in the works. Imagine if England beats Australia now, and who's going to go through? Will Australia even make it out of their pool? This is big.
Definitely, because
This is real big.
I honestly don't think England will lose to Australia. I think they will bounce back. I think.
So I'm the
I think that
opposite,
as well.
I think both Australia and England have been rated quite high, and I'm not saying that they're bad teams, but I don't think they're as good as they think they are. I just don't think they're as big a threat as someone like South Africa. I
agree with that statement, but I think England will still beat Aussie will still beat England in the upcoming weeks.
it's definitely
And
going
from
to.
what
I
I've
think England are going to top them. They're going to top them.
from
They're not
what
going to
I've
lose
seen
it
from
again.
Nah, I don't think that they're going to lose again, and that is going to kill them. They're not getting the bonus point. That is going to kill them.
Against Fiji too. Oh, mate.
But South Africa,
If I was an Aussie supporter, far out.
I definitely feel like our road to the final is going to be a lot harder than the final. I think the final is always hard. It's a final in any sport. A final is hard, but definitely our road, we're going to have to end up playing South Africa or Australia.
Yeah.
But I think if Australia make it out, I think South Africa will top their. They'll win their quarterfinal against the second place out of Pool A. I just think South Africa in the semi-finals is going to be a very hard team to beat.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm not really too scared about Ireland being in. They're never going to beat the All Blacks. Let's just put it plain and simple. They're not going to beat the All Blacks. Wales, they're too injury prone. Aussie, well, I think Aussie and South Africa, they're the ones to worry about. We don't have to worry about France. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think South Africa, they're the ones that we have to worry about.
Definitely.
I'll third it. I think South Africa as well. I'll take a wee tangent and say, I agree with you. Ireland aren't really a threat, but if there's ever a time where Ireland are going to beat the All Blacks, it'll be at this World Cup because they're playing very, very well at the moment. So
They are, but we're the All Blacks.
Yeah, I know.
We're the All
but we can
Blacks. They
say
don't
that.
beat us. They don't
We can
beat
say
us.
that all we like, but we said the same thing up until France beat us for the first time as well. There's
Yeah, but
always
you got
a
to look at
first
the
time.
records. Ireland don't beat us. When was the last time they beat us? Have they ever beat us?
No.
Yeah, but
Ever.
45 minutes ago in this conversation we were talking about you can't look at history, and now you're looking at history.
Yeah, but that's
Like,
against teams
come-
that have a history of beating us.
Yeah, but
Ireland
yeah,
don't have a
exactly.
history of
So
beating
we'll
us.
pick and choose what history we want.
No, definitely.
No,
Reno, I'm with you on that one. History, it is there, but I'm not big on it. You make your own history, and we are living in there now. I still don't think Ireland
and
are good enough.
stranger things have happened
No,
at
I
this
don't
World
think
Cup already, so
I just
Hey,
Never
that's
know.
right. That's true.
feel
I just think South Africa's the threat, and if there is to be a second threat over Australia or England or anything, I think Ireland's more of a threat to us at the moment.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. But wrapping it up soon. The All Blacks they haven't showed all their cards, and they don't have to yet. We have to still see in the holo factor, see how that is with Severe. But I just feel we're still too mentally strong. We're still too strong. Something's going to have to go wrong, completely wrong for us to lose.
Yeah. No, I think
You've just
I
hit-
think we've covered it.
Yeah, definitely.
You hit my final point on the head right there by saying it about being mentally strong. We are mentally strong, but if we don't go into the games with that mentality, that's where we'll slip. We have to keep focused the whole way through this World Cup because we got everything against us, or the media's against us because of the history. We want to be the first one to win 3. We want to go back to back and everything. So everyone's it's almost like we're hated upon because the history is against us. So they've got to block that out and just play each game as it comes.
Definitely. We've got a couple of questions here. One of them we've already covered, so quickly. We've got one from Joe. After finally seeing all the teams in action, who do you think is the All Blacks' biggest threat? And I'll go South Africa.
Yeah, we already covered this, so it is South Africa.
Yeah, Reno.
It
Yeah,
is definitely South Africa.
there you go, mate. Also, Liner. I don't want to jinx us by what she said, but who do you think New Zealand will face in the Rugby World Cup final? We've still got to make it there, but I do believe the All Blacks will there. I think we'll play England. That's my pick.
It's too hard to say right now. It's too
Yeah.
hard to say
It
right
is.
now because I know there's going to be another upset, but I tell you what, if it is someone from the Northern Hemisphere, I'm not worried. Put it that way. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
In fact, if it's someone from the Northern Hemisphere, I'm going to say it's 13 plus. Boom, there you go. I went out there and I said it. When we make the final, we're not just going to compete. We're going to take over. It's going
I want it to be
a
Ireland
strong
because
victory.
apparently they never beat us. So
Definitely.
if it's Ireland in the
Hopefully
final,
it's
it's a
Ireland.
guaranteed win. History's got us there.
Anyway, boys, thanks for coming on.
That's good.
It was good to get the brain, everything out of the brain, and I think we may have to look into doing another World Cup special as it goes along, and it gets a bit closer to the crunch games and where the All Blacks sit and who is actually still our
definitely.
biggest threat then. So thanks for coming on, boys. It's been a pleasure.
Not a problem.
Cheers for that, mate. That was
Alright.
good.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Sweet, bro.
Cheers.
Mean.
Catch
Too
up.
good.
Yep.